that we're gathering, the preliminary title report, all the taxes and all of that data we place on our website, myplace.us. So we have that information. It's gathered now. And now it's starting to take shape. Now the pig in the poke's no longer pig in the poke. You've opened the grab bag, you're looking at it, and you're starting to see what you got. Okay? So we've got preliminary information. So we need to gather data. It's a prudent thing to do. Here's a sample listing of some of our houses. And you guys will see a lot more in there tonight when you're looking. But this is just, I do this to show you a couple of things, guys. This is a point where you really got to start getting real in the presentation, okay? This is where you're going to start making it not about real estate and start listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth when we're talking about this. You need to think like a banker, because you know what? Some of them are blue, some of them are brick, some of them are little, and some of them are big. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. They're just houses. Here's what we do know. Somebody built them, somebody bought them, somebody lived in them, somebody did not pay their mortgage, some bank foreclosed on them, and now we have negotiated a great deal with the bank. There is no voodoo or magic or special or anything other than that. That's what you get. You get what you got. They're not all of them are horrible. Not all of them are great. They're just houses. Did everybody see that? They're just houses. They're places to live. And I can guarantee you that somebody wants to live there because somebody just did. And if somebody did, somebody will probably want to live there again. Okay? Now that we've got this data and we know that there's, we're looking at what we got, then we need to determine value. Is that correct? Wouldn't you think that would be another prudent thing to do? Try to figure out how much what you've got now, the value of your grab bag. You start to say, well, that's a pretty good deal. You need to evaluate the deal, right? See what the value is. So here's ways that you may determine value. You may look at the last purchase price. I think that has a little bit of credibility. You may get the last mortgage amounts and go, well, a bank loaned this much money. That's got to carry some weight. You may decide to pull an appraisal in today's market. That's a very tricky thing to do. Any appraisers in the room? It's tough. It's tough being an appraiser right now. I got lots of them that are friends, and man, they're getting in trouble all the time because everybody's pointing a finger at everybody, and it's getting hard pressed to get one to sign their name to anything. And furthermore, the thing they're signing their name to is just totally worthless. It's just a toss-up. You don't know. Because how are you going to do that? How are you going to really, you can't take really market analysis. You got comps. You got a house that was sold for $200,000 3 years ago in a certain place, maybe in Florida. And now they paid $50,000 down. They got a $150,000 mortgage. Well, they didn't pay their mortgage, so went into foreclosure. Let's say the bank bid $50 grand on them and bought it back at their own sale. And I bought it for 10. Now what's it worth? That's what an appraiser's job is right now. You got a house over here that's sold at an auction for $6 grand or whatever, You got another house on the other end of the street, it's still worth $250,000 and people still living in it. It's a great house with a great pool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's very difficult. So you can't really use the things that you used to use, is my point in all this. You can't really use the multiple listing service. You can't really use and trust market analysis for realtors. Same thing. Comps don't work right now in the market. They just don't. So you really, what I got to say to all that is that what you're going to use in all of this to determine value? Here's the way we determine value at Pinnacle. It's a little different. We simply turn it around and say, what is something really worth? Let me ask you the question. What is something really worth? Anything. What's it really worth? What someone will pay. Always. The timeless definition to value will always be what someone will pay. Right? Okay, now let me establish a couple things. Number one, we've established that it's better to be the bank than to be the real estate guru on this stuff, right? Is that correct? If you had the choice between a real estate professional and a bank, would you rather be the bank? Right? Right. Number two, we've established that regardless of traditional real estate valuation systems, we're going to take it down real simple and easy and call it this. It's going to absolutely be worth what someone will pay us for it. And cut out all the voodoo in the middle. Right? We're just going to, it will be worth what someone will pay. So it's better to be a bank, and we're going to figure out what someone will pay us for it, and that's exactly what we're going to call it worth. Okay? So that's how we determine value. Now don't forget to register. If you want to register, raise your hand and Anthony will sign you up so you can go view houses in a little bit. Let's talk about the sales process for a second. When a person, we're going to switch gears a little bit here, okay? when a person drives into the driveway. These are now people that want to live in these properties. Okay, let me say this first of all. You guys are in this room tonight because we sell investment grade properties to investors, real estate investors, buyers. If you guys are investor buyers, you want to buy properties, we got them for sale. These are investment grade. I wouldn't recommend going out and living in them. Although you could probably in many, but that's not what we sell traditionally. We sell a system that sells properties to end users. Because I promise you this, there's someone that wants to live in that property, and what we do is try to identify whom that is. So for a minute, we're going to talk about that person, the person that actually wants to live in the property. Not you guys, but the people that want to live in those properties. Now there's two primary ways that these people can buy properties from us. Number one is cash, right? Everybody understand that? Cash work, cash is great. Someone calls, hey, I'll give you $40,000 for the house. Great deal, right? So you bought the house $25,900, you sell it for $40,000. Would you do that? All right, cash works. The second way, and the most popular way, and the way that pays us the most, it pays you the most, and that we like the best, and we've completed an entire system to complete this, is the rent-to-own contract. And that's simply a rent-to-own contract exercised by a mortgage, which means they're going to rent the property from you, or me, and then ultimately they're going to get a mortgage and cash you out and buy the property. So they're going to rent it until they can buy it. You're going to cash flow until you cash out. Everybody see that? That's our most popular way, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But when those folks pull into the driveway of this house, and remember we've secured it and put a sign on it, and it's got a local telephone number, and they're going to call that's in the driveway, they've looked in the windows, they drove to the neighborhood, they picked out that house, they saw the for sale sign, they looked in all the windows, they're sitting in the driveway, they call the sign on that, and the people on the other end of our phone answer and say, hello, Pinnacle Property Sales, and they say what? What is the first question they ask? How much is it? Right? They want to know how much it is. That's the first question they ask. Now, only if we knew, we could tell them. If we were traditional real estate, we'd know exactly what. Well, here's the list price, here's what it is, and well, let's go. That's not how it works, though. Remember, because we don't determine value first, and then try to get someone to pay it. Because I hate to tell you, but that's what's wrong with. That's what put us where we are right now. Is people trying to push the market and get people to pay up, and they paid up too much and they couldn't afford it, and now it's falling back down and selling. A much more cautious approach to the market would be to sell someone at a price that they can afford. Don't you agree? Maybe sell someone at a price that they're currently paying or less. Would that be a winner? Okay. And remember, they drove over, they picked it out, they're standing in front. So the first, we've got to determine the value because we don't know how much it does cost. So here's what our salespeople do. They say, well, let me ask you a couple questions and qualify for this property. Do you currently rent or do you currently own? What do you think they say? Rent. Then we say, well, how much do you currently pay a month in rent? $600. $500? $600? All right. So they say, yeah, okay, I pay $400 a month. There you go. That's what it is. $400 a month. Okay, if we could put you in this property for $400 a month, would you be interested? Well, what do you think their answer is going to be? Sure, they called you, remember? They're sitting in the driveway, they looked at it, they called. Now it's the same price or less than what they're currently paying for rent. And now we're going to say, how much money can you put down today? What's the amount of money that you can place down on this property today? And their answer is going to be, I don't know, let's pick a number, $1,000, $500, $2,000, whatever the number is. They're going to tell us what they can put down. So now we've established that how much money they can put down, what they're currently paying per month, and we're going to try to get them that property, and there's very much interest in that. So we can try to get them that property under that rent-own contract, exercising the mortgage to get out. Now let's go back and talk about the options, switching gears, and going back to you guys sitting here. So that's the process for these individuals that are buying these properties to live in them. I'm going to go right after this slide in just a couple of minutes and show you what you can make off of that. But let's first talk about what you have to do and how you can get in and what it costs you to buy in so we can know what your baseline is. So any of the properties that we have next door that if you sign up on the list and you go over there and you look, if you want to buy one of those properties, they're all $25,900. They all come with that land trust we talked about. Remember, we take